And I remember crying on the phone to my best friend. Like, I can laugh now, but I was crying. She's like, well, what's wrong? And I'm like, I don't want to do this. She like, do what? I'm like, I don't want to do what God is calling me to do. And she was like, why? I'm like, because I'm not perfect. She was like, Marika, I don't think God is calling you to be perfect. I think God is just calling you to be yourself. What's up, y'all? It's your girl Marika, Marika's Catalog. Welcome to the channel. This is all new for me. I am on the mission to do the things that I want to do the things that I love, and do the things that I know God is calling me to. And part of that call is sharing my story. And I really wrestle with transparency because it's like, Lord, I don't want all these people in my business. And like, I don't know. I just like to keep certain things to myself. But if you know, you know. When God calling you to do something, like, you can't shake it. And I can't shake it. And so I'm like, all right, Lord, I'm just use my discernment on what to share, what not to share, create boundaries. And that's one of the things that I'm learning in this self-love journey. So Marika's Catalog is all about, it's a self-love catalog. It's all about self-love, my self-love journey. When I first started, the website, the blog, and things like that, I thought I was on a mission to help people, right? Because in the church culture, in the body of Christ, for whatever reason, we put this pressure on ourselves and other people to go out and be like, I get it in the word, let your light shine, be a light, and things like that. But I don't think it's supposed to be all this pressure to do so. And it's like, bruh, that's what it is. It's the pressure to try to save the world. And it's like, bruh, we are not called to save the world. We're called to be a light, but not save the world. Saving the world is ultimately God's job. And for whatever reason, I don't know where that seed was planted, but we get this idea like, I gotta save the world. And I love this meme that's been going around. It says something like, I used to think I could save people until I realized that they were drowning me. And Marika has been sinking, okay? Because it's just like in here, I'm just like, oh, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, I gotta do this, I gotta help this person, I gotta help that person. And it's like, you running around crazy trying to save the world. If you lose yourself, like, you lose sense of self, you begin to sink. And honestly, I was sinking. That wasn't the only reason I was sinking, but I was forgetting about Marika. And it's like, God is like, sis, like, I need you to focus on you. Look to me and focus on you. And so I've just been adjusting my focus. And that's something that I've learned too on this self-love journey, that self-love is not selfish. For again, another misconception that happens in the church culture is that you gotta put yourself last, and putting yourself last, you're ultimately harming yourself. Like, it's okay to be selfish sometimes. Like, it just depends on like the motive and the intention. But sometimes you do gotta be selfish and put yourself first, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think God called us to forget about ourselves, because if we're not full and healthy, how are we gonna help other people? Like, that's not how it works. So I'm here to tell you that self-love is not selfish. Like, it's okay to be selfish sometimes. I mean, and it's floating around on social media, but sometimes I think we just miss what some of these sayings really mean. And so that's what I've been on. And that's what I wanted to say. So, so back in like 2019 or 2020, I can't remember which one it was. It might have been 2019 going into 2020. And I remember crying on the phone to my best friend. Like, I could laugh now, but I was crying. She's like, well, what's wrong? And I'm like, I don't want to do this. She like, do what? I'm like, I don't want to do what God is calling me to do. And she was like, why? I'm like, because I'm not perfect. She was like, Marika, I don't think God is calling you to be perfect. I think God is just calling you to be yourself. And that was like my aha moment. Thanks, best friend. That was like my aha moment. And I'm like, dang, she right though. Like, I think that and I'm going to talk about, you know, church culture, the Christian community, and things like that, because I'm a believer, but at the same time, it's just like, I don't agree with some of the shit that, you know, we be doing. And that's one of them. Is like, God don't call us to be perfect. And again, me cussing, I curse sometimes. So I'm gonna just put it out there before we get any further. Like, I cuss sometimes. I ain't perfect. And God didn't call me to be perfect. And I'm okay with that now. And or at least I'm untangling myself from this perfectionist mentality that I would have. And part of it is from like childhood trauma, and part of it is from like just the things that I've learned being in the church. And so I said all that to say it's like, I was fighting God. And part of the reason I was fighting God is because I'm like, Lord, I'm not perfect. I don't want to be a leader. Like, I don't want to lead. I don't want to be in the forefront. I don't want to be like out here, because I don't need people telling me what's right and what's wrong. Like, I fuck up sometimes. And you live and you learn, and it, like, that's okay. And that's something that I'm working through and pushing through, and me creating this video is part of that, because I'm like, ooh, one of the things that has held me back is like, oh, I don't have this resource, or I don't got this amount of money for this, and like, I have these grand ideas, like, but right now, I'm gonna say I'm waiting for the budget to come. I'm gonna say that because I believe that God is gonna bring it to me. But I'm waiting on the budget to get here, and in me waiting for the budget to get here, I just been at a standstill and stagnant. And God is like, no, I need you to go. Like, use what you have. And so that's what I'm doing. But yeah, I just wanted to put that out there. I ain't perfect. I'm on this journey. I'm inviting y'all into this journey. I'm sharing my journey. And just know that just because this is my way doesn't mean it has to be your way. I'm not trying to say, oh, you need to do this, and this. Like, no, because we're all constructed and designed differently. Like, we talk about creativity, God is the ultimate creator, and we're all designed uniquely and differently. And yeah, some things are universal, but not everything. Especially when it comes to your purpose and your calling. And I think that a lot of times we forget that. Like, we try to pressure and convince people, do it my way. And it's like, I'm trying to do it your way, but this ain't working for me. Like, this ain't, because it ain't meant to work for you. Like, people gotta use discernment and also be led by God. Like, tap in with God, because even from believers, it's like you could be getting advice from people that you think are, you know, on a straight and narrow path, and they very much so might be. But just because is their word, like, just because it worked for them doesn't mean it's gonna work for you. And just because they love the Lord doesn't mean they always know what they're talking about. And that goes for me too. Like, test what I be saying, or talk to God about, you know, some of the things, like advice that I might give. Talk to God about it. Don't take my word for it completely, because shit, I'm human and I'm still learning as I go myself. And but I'm just gonna share what, you know, God is leading me to share. And if it applies to you, it applies to you. If it don't, cool. So yeah, that's that. I feel like I'm leaving something out, because again, this is my third time recording this video, and I did not create a script. Maybe I might have to do that. I'm learning as I go, y'all. Y'all about to watch me build this and a few other things that I'm working on from the ground up, and I'm excited about it. Yeah, I'm excited about it. So yeah, holla at your girl, rock with me, tap in, subscribe, follow, spread the word, all of that good stuff, because we about to grow, y'all. We growing, we healing childhood trauma, we healing wounds, we forgiving. Lord help me with forgiveness. That's something I'm working on. We gonna talk, we gonna talk, y'all. We gonna talk. So yes, if there are any topics about self-love that you want to talk about or explore more, leave that in the comments below. And again, just rock out with me. All right, I love y'all. Peace.